I had the pleasure of being part of a panel discussion last week, and the title of the discussion was the Future of Work, AI Human Collaboration. And it got me thinking about some stuff which I want to share with you today. So I'm coming in from a software development perspective. I've been a software developer for, well, commercially over 35 years. And before that, I was doing it for another, I don't know, 10 years or so. And so this is something that's dear to my heart, software development. And I've been thinking about how it's going to affect the industry and who it's going to affect. Now, there's some of the doom gloomers out there, as I call them, who think, oh yeah, it's going to take everyone's job. Everyone's going to be made redundant. We're going to have universal basic income. It's a bit of a dystopian kind of picture that people draw. But who is it going to disrupt really, and why? And it's always hard to predict the future, but it is makes sense to kind of think about it so we can protect ourselves and what can we do about it? So when it kind of first came on the scene and the LLMs was doing coding, I thought, well, this is going to be great for junior developers because it's going to allow them to um, to code better and that kind of upskill them. I thought, well, that's really kind of cool. But then I realized that it's going to be the opposite. Is you don't need them because the coders, the AI agent coders are actually better than junior developers. And um, and now you can have a senior developer like controlling a few AI agents who are doing the coding. So I'm thinking this is actually really bad for the junior coders. So I think it's going to really hit them the worst. And I don't think that's anything controversial. I think you tell this to people and they're like, yeah, they nod their heads, thinking, yeah, that's probably right. But there's something uh, more that I think maybe you haven't thought about how it affects senior management. So you got these. So you think of it as a pyramid. You got an organization as a pyramid. Below you have all these kind of junior developers coming into the organization, and then people kind of rise up and become more senior until you have the peak. And the peak is say the CTO. Okay, in terms of a technology organization within a bigger company. So, you've only got one CTO, but down the bottom, you kind of have many junior developers. So I think it's going to really disrupt that bottom like layer of the organization, of the pyramid within the organization. The middle bit is going to be they need to change the kind of middle management, the senior developers. They would obviously the way they work would change a lot because now they're working with AI agents instead of human beings. So there's obviously some changes to be made there, but I think they're still going to be very important to the organization. They may need to upskill a bit, become more like architects, have a broader understanding of the system and how it scales up. But I want to just think about the top layer, the CTO. Now, if you go back to the 60s, the 70s, and even the 80s, technology didn't really have a seat at the table, so to speak. Technology was more like a support um, service. It was kind of in the back office running big mainframes that did payroll and accounting stuff. And yes, it was just a tool, a support service, as I said. Then come into the 90s and definitely after that 2000s and the last 25 years. And IT has really had a seat at the table. And then you've got the CTO now. So the CTO, I don't know when CTO started appearing, but certainly they are a fairly modern invention. And so now they're a C-suite. They're maybe even on the board of directors, and they're kind of helping the company with their strategy because now IT software is core to the business. It's not just like a support service. It's actually core. So that's where they kind of the whole importance of IT within an organization. And remember, this is not, I'm not talking about a software organization. I'm not talking about an IT organization. I'm talking about just a normal organization, any organization. But really, we're talking about big organization, multinationals and the like. But whatever they did, they would probably have a CTO. So now all big organizations probably have a CTO or CIO, whatever they want to call it. And it's that job that I want to just consider, because now the CEO or the other C-suite members don't need to kind of defer to the CTO and say, hey, CTO, what should our strategy be? What can we do? Should we have a mobile app? Would it make sense? How are we going to build it? Is it going to be expensive and all that sort of stuff? They can just talk to AI. They don't really need the CTO anymore. They can just have a conversation with AI. And if you've tried this, it works very well. And I really wonder if we will have technology having a seat at the table, or whether business people will actually be able to use the AI themselves and actually find answers to their questions. And I think they will. And I think we'll see more of this, how before the IT people kind of controlled technology, and now it's going to be a kind of a difference that the business people right up to the CEO and the board of directors can be making technology decisions with the help of AI. And so what that means is the IT organization kind of goes back to what it was back in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. It becomes more of a support organization, more of an infrastructure for the organization. So, and it could be down to people like the product managers or the business users working out what they need from their software using tools like Lovable or whatever, doing maybe 80% of the work, and then just go into the IT people and saying, look, here, I've kind of spec'd it out, I've written 80% of the code, take it, make it scalable, maybe put some kind of make sure it's kind of there's no vulnerabilities and the security is good, deploy it to the cloud or wherever, and then support it and run it. And so it becomes, as I said, much more of a support organization to the wider organization. And I think that's where it may be going. And that may be something that you haven't heard before. And I think it's really interesting. Now, if you're a CTO, then, or you want to be a CTO, you dream to be a CTO, then maybe this is not good news for you. However, organizations do move fairly slowly. So I don't think, they're going to go out and kind of fire all their CTOs now. But as CTOs move on, maybe move to another company or retire, I wonder if organizations will run out and run out and hire a new CTO, or whether they'll just think, let's just see if we actually need a CTO, because we seem to be doing pretty well without one. And you'll have maybe a head of technology, but it won't be a C-suite. It won't have a C in front of their name. There'll be a head of technology, which they've been around for a long time, but they'll be reported into the operations manager or something like that. And kind of all the operations as the COO, and just kind of, which is kind of the way it was. I remember when I started working back in the 90s, really, we would have a head of IT reported into the chief operating officer. And I think it may go back to that. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, if you have aspirations of being a CTO, you might be disappointed about the future, and I'm sorry about that. But I think there's going to be a lot of people within the IT organization who's kind of very happy about this, because they didn't want to be kind of hassled by the business, and they just want to sit in their back room doing their stuff, running their infrastructure, writing their software. And I think they're going to be kind of really happy about this. And so let's see how it kind of shakes out in the next few years. But I think AI is going to change a lot. And it's going to be really interesting. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the future and how it seems. So great. Anyway, nice talking to you, and take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.